Hey everyone, welcome back. This is What Time Is It Gaming? And today we're going to do another Gwent deck, the Nilfgaard deck, my Double Cross deck, named after the Double Cross leader ability. Please subscribe down below, hit the bell, so you get notifications, leave a comment, leave your own deck if you have a suggestion. In the comments, I will leave the deck down there, the notes on the characters and the cards that used, and I will update it as the game gets updated. So in the comments, it'll give you update 1 or 2, and it will say which update it is good up to. So this is the Nilfgaard faction. They're a little different than some of the other ones. They use statuses such as lock, which lock out abilities. They use a lot of poison, which if you get 2 poisons on an enemy card, they are destroyed. They have these Disloyal cards, which are basically spies that hop onto the enemy side. Now, remember, they will give the points to the enemy, but they always do something for you. They also have aristocrats. Aristocrats are going to come into play when you play your Masquerade Ball, because they need aristocrats to story. And finally, we have Assimilate, kind of the main things in this deck. When you play a card that's not in your starting deck, or you create or spawn a card, these guys will get boosted, whoever has Assimilate. So we'll start with the Double Cross leader ability. It's probably my favorite in the game. You activate it, and it pops up 3 cards from the enemy opponent's hand. So always make sure the opponent has at least 3 cards. That way, you're maximizing it. Now, for me, I use it whenever the opponent has 3 cards, like I said. But I usually save it for the final game, whichever that is, whether it's the second game or the third game. If you're in a tight spot, use it, but I like to use it at the end, because when you use it and you see your opponent's 3 cards, you have the ability to basically plan out the last 3 plays. Not only do you see their cards, so you know what they can do and possibly what their strategy is to defend against it. Most likely, what most people do is carry their best cards to the end. So cards like, let's say, Karathi Heatwave, to banish a card, Geralt Yarden to reset the whole freaking row. You have Oneromancy to play any card, or Royal Decree to play a unit. There's so many. You could have Geralt Rivia to destroy a unit with 9 or more. Basically, you know that they have all these cards. Again, we went over that. So you got defense, but you can use it. You can pick whichever one it is, whether it's a unit or a spell kind of card, and you can use it against them. So it's fantastic. It gives you offense and defense. For the stratagem, use Magic Lamp for this deck. Other people's will use like Collar to lock and damage, and there's the other ones that you can do. You can play with it. I prefer the Magic Lamp. It's simple. When you click ability and you use it, it summons this 5 power Lamp Djinn. And surprisingly, with the extra guy on the map on your row, it can make the difference, the 5. And now let's get into the deck. We'll start at the top. Masquerade Ball has been a favorite for a while, with its ability to poison and get rid of cards. So we talked about the aristocrats. When you play this card, it spawns a Thirsty Dame. Whenever an enemy gets a status, he boosts himself by 1. Now you play these aristocrats, and you can get 2 of the Fangs of the Empire. So you can do get rid of at least 1 person. Now, we'll move on to the next one. You've got the Usurper Officer. He's interesting. He's one of these cards that changes over time. If you're going to swap stuff in and out of the deck, which I suggest everyone should test out their own stuff, just don't add any neutral cards. Because if you add them, he will not change. That's his devotion ability. Now, he spawns these operatives. In his first form, he only spawns 1, and you can pick where to put it. In his second and third form, he spawns 2. In his in his third form, he spawns 2. He also has Veil, so he cannot get hit by statuses, and he is boosted whenever you play an agent. So I always recommend you try to get him to the end. But if you need him in a pinch, use him. At least, please try to at least wait till the second round. If you play him up here, he's 6 and 3. If you play him at one of these two, he's 6 and 12 because there's 3s. So he's giving you more points later on. He also has Zeal, so you can seize the operatives in the beginning, right as you play them. I recommend you do that. There's no point in waiting. It just leaves a opportunity for something bad to go wrong. We've got Joachim de Wett. He's disloyal, so you do play him on the enemy side. He plays the top non-disloyal unit from your deck and boosts it by 8. There's going to be some other cards that will work really well in a combo with him, and I will show you exactly what those are. But first, I just want to say these disloyal cards, we're going to go through all of them. Just be aware of where you put them. You can really screw up your enemy's strategy by kind of just stacking a whole row. Remember, each row holds 9 cards, melee and range, 18 total. So if someone's, let's say, put a defender in the ranged category and he's loading out people, you can stack up the ranged area with disloyal cards and make it so he can't put any more. So just something to think about to really mess with your opponent's strategy and get them really upset. We've got Ramon Tyrconnel. Got a deployability. He spawns a copy of a bronze soldier in your hand. It gives it 2 armor. Again, don't forget, spawn these cards. If you have an Assimilate card on there on the field, it will get a bonus from it. Again, though, this card is good to use with, my opinion, either the sergeant. You can play the sergeant, and you can play another sergeant, and that way you have 1 on each row. And then he boosts himself when someone has a deploy, which most cards do. Or I like to use him with Alba Armored Cavalry. You get the 5, plus you get the Laka unit is always nice. But it's always situational, so use it as needed. You've got Braathens. He also has Assimilate. He creates and plays a bronze disloyal unit from your deck. Again, we only have 1. It's the Duchess Informant, and we will go over her stuff when we get there. But yeah, just know when he plays that, you will always get this card as an option. Bonhart's awesome. He destroys an enemy unit with 9 or more in the melee range, and he destroys a Witcher in the ranged area. Now, saying that, I've talked about how putting cards on your enemy side can mess up their strategy. You're going to be spawning and creating a lot of cards on your own side. Just be aware of where you put them. Don't max yourself out. Again, 9 slots on each row. You need to have one open, to make sure you can use this guy how you need, whether it's on the main melee range or the ranged range. So just be aware of that, and you'll be good. Yennifer's Invocation is a great card. It's a good combo card. If you want to save it to the end and you just pull off their highest enemy, you can do that. Or you can pull off an enemy and you can combo her with Joachim de Wett. So don't forget, he plays the top non-disloyal unit and gives it 8. So if they play, let's see, they play an Alba Armored Cavalry, you can use Yennenfer, put him on the top of your deck. You can use Joachim. You give him +8. You also can then play him in Laka unit. Or let's say they use a Usurper's Officer. He's at 6, take him, +8, and then you can use his special. So, you know, really think about who you're going to do, because if you've got a Joachim de Wett sitting there and you can use him, they're going to be the next card off the top of your deck that he adds, that he boosts, and you will also get their special, their abilities. Coup de Grace is another one of these cards that you combo with some of the other ones. It has Echo, so you get to use it twice, basically. Once you're done, it goes to the top of your deck. It damages an enemy unit, spawns and plays a base copy of it. Otherwise, Conspiracy here, as long as it is a Spy or Disloyal card, it always triggers the death blow. So you really want to use it with Joachim de Wett, meaning it'll knock him down to 1, won't kill him, but because of it, of Conspiracy, it always works. So you can basically throw him down, get your card +8, do its special, hit Coup de Grace on him, and you'll boost it another card of him. You get to play him one more time. You can also use Roderick or the Informant, whoever's there. He's your best bet. Roderick, second if you need to pull one of these yellow. Because he does 2 gold cards and you pick 1. So if you need a gold card, you're struggling, he may be the one you want to use. Now we have Van Lahelms Cupbearer. Again, he has Assimilate. In the melee range, when you deploy him, he can poison. Or in the range, he can purify. This guy's good because not only does he assimilate, so he's will grow based on the cards you're creating and spawning. But if you have a card, let's say you couldn't get the last Fangs of the Empire to poison, you can use him. You can purify if a card has, let's say, a shield on the enemy side and it's really messing with you. Then we have Roderick of Dun. Again, Disloyal looks at 2 random gold cards, and you play 1. He's great in the beginning. Near the end, not so much, because you usually played most of your cards. So again, check your hand, because he's really worthless if you have 0 gold cards. You're just going to add him, give 2 points to your enemy. If there's 1 gold card, it just shows 1 and you can pick it. So just check your deck first before you keep him in your hand. Make sure that he's actually worth it. Back to the Alba Armored Cavalry. For 5 power and 1 armor, and just for the 5 provision with the lock ability, they're great. They really will boost your numbers. You've got the Impera Brigade. These guys are awesome. So there's 2 of them. If you control a soldier on the field, you'll summon both copies. So you play 1, the other one pops out. This is a great thinning card. And by thinning, I mean it will pull a card out of your deck so that there's less cards in your deck. When there's less cards in your deck, it's easier to try to get the one that you want when you're drawing your next hand. We've got the Slave Hunter, Assimilate. Again, their order, so you have to wait a turn, but they damage an enemy by 2. So at least you got a little damage here, or try to take somebody out. And then here we have another one, the Hunting Pack. They're kind of like the brigade up here. Instead of soldiers, they are statuses. So Veil, Poison, Lock, anything like that. Someone has it, you pop one of these bad boys out, it'll pull the other one out of the deck. Again, another great thinning card. But both these cards, the Brigade and the Hunting Pack, it's nice because if you do it correctly, it's 8 points for both of them. So it really pushes up the numbers. We've got the Duchess Informant. Again, don't forget, Braathens will make 1 of her. But you play her on the other side. She's only 1 point, which is nice. You're not giving them a lot of points. But she plays a copy of a bronze card. You can put her in the melee or ranged, whatever is best to screw up their strategy, and you can pick anyone on either side. So basically, read their cards, pay attention, because whatever you summon, you can use their abilities, you can use their their orders and things like that. You're making a whole new card, and your Assimilate guys will get boosted as well. Again, just remember, wherever you put them, Make sure you leave space for the other cards that are in your hand. Don't overload either the melee or the ranged area. Nausica Sergeant. This is one of my favorite cards. You play him, it's super easy. Every time you play something with deploy on it, he goes up by 1. It's quite an easy card, but super efficient. And again, if you spawn an extra one of him, it can really do some damage as long as you keep him on the different rows. In case someone has like Yarden or something, wipe out the whole row. Master of Disguise is another one. As long as there is a locked enemy, he will boost himself at the end of every turn, so you get some good numbers out of him as well. Then we've got our own Fangs of the Empire. So you have 2 here, you have 2 with Masquerade Ball, and you have Van Lahelms cupbearer. So you got 5 poison units. So you should be able to take out at least 1, possibly 2 enemies throughout the match. And last but not least, you have Van Lahelms Hunter. Again, another aristocrat, along with final form of Usurper Officer, which is the Usurper Emperor. We've got Joachim de Wett and Roderick right here. Those are the 4 aristocrats we have. Now, again, you technically have 5 because you use Coup de Grace on them in that turn. As you needed. But yeah, he has bleeding for 2 turns in the melee range. Can be used well, but usually he's used for his locking ability in the ranged area. Now, this deck is extremely complex. You got to think it through. There's times where you may be very close to your time limit, but if done correctly, this deck has a super high win rate. It has a lot of punch with cards like the Hunting Pack and the Impera Brigade and Joachim de Wett, because you're just pumping out lots of high numbers. You have Assimilate, you have Sergeant here with the deploy, raising it. You've got Locks raising Master of Disguise. And not only that, but with Double Cross here, you can have your basically finishing move by using one of their own cards and knowing exactly what they're going to do at the same time. So I highly, highly, highly recommend this deck. It's a super fun deck to play with. It's going to cause a lot of angst in your opponent, and you lock them down. But try it out. Again, I will have the deck in the comments. I will update the deck. So check it out, check back. Please share, please try different things. And if you do try anything else, leave it in the comments. Leave your own deck in the comments. And besides that, please check out our other videos. We have some gameplay videos of Gwent, of this deck, and some of the other decks. Please check out our other videos of games like Cyberpunk, Riftlands. And as always, enjoy it, because what time is it? It's game time.